my name's, Grant. I go by .0 as my stage name. I'm originally from the Chicago suburbs, from Highland Park, if that means anything to you. I came out into the dorms, and then I ended up subleasing a place in Tempe, and then kind of moved around a little bit, but really haven't left Arizona since. I've loved music all my life. I've been a fan of, motorsports, tech, just kind of anything that moves fast. I've been doing this music thing for a little bit under a year. If I look at the calendar, it's about 16 days left until I hit a full year of, creating the .0 project. And I really got into it through a bunch of people, just through being in the scene overall. I mean, I was able and very, very lucky to go to these amazing shows, especially, end of 2024, going on to the beginning of 2025. We had a lot of great moments here in Arizona. And through that, I just fell in love with the community, and I ended up on stage at one of these events, and I realized, damn, I'm the only one without a USB. And, since then it's just been making the right connections, meeting the right people, and just, I don't know, again, just being happy to be here. That's kind of how I got into this whole thing, and that's what really drives me forward, at least.
When I was talking to Gek during the last show, he'd kind of explained, there was like a point where he was kind of like a fly on the wall, supporting. Was there like that period of time for you? And
yes, a million percent. That's really how I got into being a DJ, is I was a fly on the wall. When I first started going to these local shows, especially, we had Desert Dynasty out here in 2024 over at Endgame, which, isn't functional now, but we had such an amazing time and amazing community that I was able to just start going to these. And I was just a fan of the music. I like riddim, I like loud noises, I like when robots smashing together sounds cool. And so that was my time as a fly on the wall, was, finding these guys on social media, like on TikTok or Instagram, and then going to these shows. It was Crimson, Topiary, Fam, there was Desert Hydra, there was Construct, and all those were made possible, whether it be through these local events or through these bigger shows. There was Sisto, there was Usabi Flow, there was a lot of really cool artists that, came around. And that was my time as a fly on the wall. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't stop, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm still able to sit back and, to sit on my hands, so to speak, and to learn from amazing people. I continue to. Mm-hmm. But just as far as getting my bearings and really what got me into it, that was the starting point, was being the fly on the wall and just being a music goer, and just going to these shows, having fun, meeting these artists and going, damn, I really want to do what you do, and just watching and just studying a little bit. Mm-hmm.
When you started in the scene,
I know what you're asking.
Were you already kind of, oh, this is like really what I fuck with, or was it kind of motivated by who you were seeing and the people that you were meeting?
This is coming from a kid who's been listening to EDM since I was 8 or 9 years old. I'm talking like Nero, long, Promises, Skrillex remix, Doomsday, stuff like that, right? Yeah. So as someone who enjoys it, I know that I always liked the umbrella of dubstep over other genres, and that was definitely where I wanted to be. And then, I got into raving, of course. I think a lot of people, I don't want to say of course, but a lot of people in my space, we start with the headbanger stuff, whether it be Excision, Subtronics, great mainstream gateways. That is not to knock them. I absolutely love Subtronics, and I love Excision, but, that's of course how you start.
Yeah.
I think what really drove how I dialed my sound in was a mix of, like we talked about, going to these events and hearing what these artists played and what I was getting the most active to and having the most fun to, but also just time and experimentation. One of the things that my mentor taught me was it's going to take time. And that's not, talking about necessarily the Subtronics piece where he said, you got to give yourself 10 years to be ass, basically. But this is in the sense of you're going to learn these new skills, and every day you're going to get a little bit better, and you're going to understand your song selection a little bit more. You're going to understand the rhythm a little bit more. And that's really how I was able to hone my craft. I started out with, man, I love rhythm. And so I would do just the 140 rhythm doubles. And then I wanted to do some more dubstep stuff. And then I would dabble. And again, it took time. And over time is when I was able to really hone in, okay, well, this is the pocket that I like getting into. These are the songs I listen to, and how do I convey that? Yeah.
Do you feel like there is a certain level of musicality that you're able to bring to what you do based on the fact that you played more like traditional instruments before?
Yeah. So for those who don't know, I grew up playing, just like traditional instruments all my life, pretty much.
What'd you play?
So I started with, guitar. It was acoustic, electric. I don't know. It was just guitar. And that's not, against anyone who plays either. But to me, at a 4-year-old, it's just guitar. And then it was, violin, a little bit there, viol, a little bit, cello. And then I landed on saxophone pretty hard when I was like 5th grade or something like that. And I took that all the way through high school. And so that included, wind synth, wind ensemble, some jazz band stuff, some pit orchestra stuff, pep band, marching band, kind of anything that I could really get my hands on when it came to traditional music. And I'll never forget, and I really hope this gets to him. Shout out Mr. Chodoroff. He was my high school band director. This is extremely, extremely fucking important. He was one of the biggest just hit it on the head about rhythm, about tone, and about predicting this. When you read music, when you play music, you need to be able to keep the time. And that comes with, conducting, time signature. But that also means that you are going to inevitably end up trusting your ear.
Yeah.
And you're going to need to be able to predict what comes next. That'll naturally, happen with muscle memory, right? This is why we're able to play songs or sing them just based on hearing, a couple notes or recognize it. This is why, when you're DJing, when you practice enough transitions, you'll just have it down pat no matter how many times you do, like any skill. And so he really, really hammered that home. And the other thing that he hammered home was that tone and that key and how to create that emotion through music. Yeah. And what that comes down to is your harmonics, right? What keys you're transitioning in and out of, what keys you might be doubling with, how some minors might provide more or less energy than, some majors, etc. And that alone, I didn't realize how helpful that would be with, the music theory and the teaching and just that instrumentation that I had, because not even talking about producing, just the ability to mix, for my foot to be able to keep time consistently, for my brain to be able to predict what's next, and my ears to be trained enough at, such a young age that I can trust my ears to control my hands. Yeah. Almost. And I can just let that flow. I can trust when I'm building a set, I'm able to give myself the confidence to know I am feeling out the highs and lows of this. How do I create a little bit of a lull instead of going drop for drop? It's just that little bit of that classical training. It makes it so much more fun. I don't want to say easier. I say it makes it more approachable, but it definitely makes it more fun because I can get a little bit more creative with that.
Obviously, you have the set with thirds coming up.
Right.
Like, how do you go about crafting like a set? What does your process look like from conception to performance?
The conception point might be at the beginning if I'm like, no, this song right here has just this cinematic, no, I got it, right? If I'm making an edit, I'm like, no, easy. But sometimes I'll go, I just can't figure it out, but like this set bangs and I could totally flow off of this one, and so let me just start here.
Yeah.
And so that means that sometimes I might even start making my sets like 15, 20 minutes into it, basically, already into the clock. And from that point, it's what sounds good and what am I predicting? I mentioned, it's that prediction. When you listen to enough EDM, enough music, and whatever genre you might like, you're going to be able to just hear songs that might flow good together. And when you listen to enough EDM, whatever subgenre that is, you'll probably be able to kind of like mix a little bit of stuff in your head, be like, oh, that would sound cool. I trust that. As at least as a starting point. I'm not saying I'm Mozart, but I'll trust that and I'll just try and flow off of it. Oh, well, you know what? This would kind of vibe into this, or, oh, this transition in my head, that'd be like a cool way to just keep it going. I'm just envisioning just whatever comes to mind. It might sound cool. I'll use that as a baseline.
Yeah.
And I'll try it and I'll immediately throw it on, deck 1 or deck 2, and I'll see if it works. I'll just test the basics. And if it doesn't, okay, that's fine. But now I have a starting point, right? Let's say I'm transitioning out of song A to song B, and I don't know what song B is yet. And I try one that sounds good in my head, and it sounds kind of ass, like it's just straight up not good. But even though it sounded bad, maybe the drum pattern was like kind of the vibe, and I go, okay, bet. What's some, just off the top of my head, What's some other stuff that might have something similar? And then maybe I'll find something that's kind of related and it's a little bit closer. And I'll go, okay, drums are kind of right. I like the key it's in. And then I'll just hit the collection, filter by key. And 9 times out of 10, anywhere from 2 minutes to 20 minutes later, I will have figured that out, because I will just use every no as a building block, as it gets me closer. It doesn't throw me away. If it's completely in the wrong direction, I don't look at it as, oh man, now I'm going backwards. It's okay, don't fucking do that and move on. And I try not to take it so seriously. And from there, yeah, it's just I build, I flow. And then I'll get maybe 20 minutes from where I started. And I'll find myself not maybe in a rut, but I'll be a little bit tired. I'll cap it there. I will go from the beginning. And I will make sure that I get in a single clean run through everything perfect from the start of what I made to the end of what I just made. Like, as you know, as far as routine, sequence, however much of my set I built. And I do not care how many times I have to stop, get mad at myself, and restart the recording. And I know it sounds insane, but like I've done it like 100 times before on like a full set. I've been like, I'm so close. I'll get to 55 minutes, fuck it up, restart. No and way. I do that because even though it might be a little bit harsh, just personal, you know, whether it be work schedule, life stuff, sometimes I don't always have the time to like keep practicing every little niche thing. So it does ingrain certain parts of my head a little bit. But not only does that get me down through all the hard parts where I, you know, start maybe messing up, but B, it gives me a recorded file. Because then over the courses, you know, as I iterate, there's no real other magic to the process. I kind of keep repeating this part where I take it, I maybe see what feels good. I might need a few days in between, whatever. I just rinse, repeat. But I'll keep recording these sections so that on my drive to work or while I'm at work or something, as I get closer to a show, I can throw my AirPods in, open the file on my phone, or, you know, just like upload it, private link to SoundCloud, and I will listen to that section on fucking loop.
That's so crazy.
Because again, I know that sometimes my schedule won't always allow me to have the practice time that I should or I need.
Yeah.
So in order to supplement that, I drill what I'm going to do in my head as much as I possibly can, to the point that my ear can predict what I'm doing better than my eyes or my brain. And that is how I'm able to put sets together.
So
because
crazy, dude.
Like I'll, you know, as a local DJ, you want to always try and improve and upgrade and always have a new set. I know, you know, the bigger DJs don't always do that. They kind of iterate their sets, but, you know, I don't have just a fucking Gorillion Plays catalog over here, right? Yeah. I'm still, you know, trying to make my way through it. And so that's kind of how I'll do it, is if I only have maybe 2-3 weeks in between a show and I want to get maybe 80% of an entirely new set, I'll do it and I'll record it, and 3 days out, it is literally the only thing I will be listening to for like 3-4 days straight. And then I'll get up there and I'll be able to do it, and I'll be able to do it even if I mess up really, really well or recover really well, because I can go on autopilot, and instead of overthinking, I just... I've processed it.
Yeah, like you know it.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And that's the iterative process. Yeah.
That's so good. I mean, like...
But hey, you know, it also lets me iron things out, because, you know, like anyone, you know, you could be in graphic design and writing, whatever, you know, your passion is, right? You put all this effort in and you're kind of going fucking crazy, you need to go to bed.
Yeah.
And then you wake up the next day and you're still going crazy. You're like, hey, I need to set this down. Let me wait a few days and come back to this.
Yeah.
And you come back to it and you're like, okay, a lot of this is good, but, you know, I was kind of losing the plot a little bit on this back half.
Yeah.
That's what it allows me to do, is not only am I drilling this into my brain, but also on a more positive side, I'm able to literally step back. Instead of overly frustrate myself, I can still keep the DJing and the mixing and the creating the set part fun. I can take time away, maybe not think about it, and then the next day come back and I'll listen to the recording and I go, you know, I thought this double was heat when I was making it, but it's not.
Yeah, you can listen to it in a new set of ears.
Yeah. And it's a new set of ears for me, or I'll send it to my girlfriend, and she doesn't mix, but she loves dubstep.
Yeah.
And I, bless her heart, I love you, hates riddim. And so as a result, I try and do it from that listener perspective, and that all goes into it. Yeah.
You mentioned like sometimes you'll have like 2-3 weeks between like sets.
Mm-hmm.
Is it typical that you'll like completely tear everything down, start from scratch, or will
No.
you take pieces
If it's gas, I'll keep it.
type shit?
And that's it. But on top of that, depending on what that set will do. I'm not talking about means to me. Every set is super important for me. But it's okay, who am I supporting, right? Is this something, and I do not mean this to say I do not give everything my all, but is a local show versus a festival, for anyone, if it's an afters versus a festival, they're going to put two different performances on.
Right, yeah.
So I will use my smaller sets as ways to say I don't tear everything down, I keep what's gas, I iterate, and then the bigger stuff I'm able to then strip things down and take what's good and what's new and then build on top of it.
How do you like maintain such like a high level of energy? Is it just like solely off the back of like all these people are here and like, because you've heard this so many times.
Yeah, and man, it's adrenaline. Like it's a completely different side of me, and that's what I love so much about DJing is the way I keep my energy. I mean, I'll have an hour set, an hour 15. Gold Rush was an hour and a half. That was a long time in the heat. And
God.
right, it was like still 105, 110 degrees, not ideal, but loved Gold Rush. But the point is, it's adrenaline. You can ask my girlfriend, anyone, especially her. Oh, I'm panicking before a set. I'm so nervous. I'm so anxious. But then I get up there, and because I obsessed over the set a little bit, maybe a little bit too much, so I can trust my ear. I can use all the adrenaline and all the excitement of what you dream of, what you imagine, what you envision to be like, oh my God, like I'm on stage, like, headlining, whatever. I can use all of that passion and all of that adrenaline, and I can disconnect all of my social and my performer energy from everything my hands are doing. And I just don't know how to explain it otherwise, but I just kind of separate them and use the adrenaline, man.
Sounds like you kind of like, not like black out, but it's like...
A little, for sure. I think everyone does to an extent, but
cool.
It gets better with time. You get more comfortable with certain things. My first few sets, I for sure blacked out, but they went great, I think.
That's sick, man. Obviously, you've done some pretty crazy like shows, like
Thank you.
at some crazy like venues and stuff. Why thirds?
I mean, I touched on it, right? But it's how I got into the community in the first place. It was all this solo raving. It was all going to these shows, these small ones. I mean, Endgame, and I'm not talking, always the big stuff. I mean, maybe one of those local shows that like sold 100 tickets.
Yeah.
And really getting into that showed me so much love for the community and just how helpful it can be, right? I was in a really dark place at that time for myself. And going to these events and spending that time just around those people is what helped me and helped uplift me. And then I get approached by thirds. And I immediately see a team of people that's doing the exact same thing for the exact same reasons, right? It's people who already see the fantastic community that Arizona has to offer. We're pretty blessed, especially when it comes to bass music. Yeah. And not capitalizing that in a, publicity sense, but actually doing it in a way to bring people together the same way that I was drawn in.
Yeah.
I became a DJ because of people like, my mentor fam, but of events like stuff Thirds is doing.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you guys have already put on a fantastic show, with Geck and everything like that. And I mean, off the bat, it immediately wraps you and immediately takes you into that sense of, right. This is that hole in the wall. This is the community where I can know every single person if I wanted, or I could never see them again if I don't want to. But for those few hours you're together, nothing matters, and all of you are together. It's just a safe, it's just a safe space. It's home. That's what it means to me. That's what I see Thirds doing. And that's what I see Thirds being able to create and continue to curate. So that's why I'm here,
Yeah, truly, man. I think like the community and like these scenes in like the EDM scene in like Phoenix is like like truly, it's like really beautiful.
It is.
Like I don't even.
It really
I'm not
is.
even trying to be like corny or whatever, but I
Mhm.
think it's like really cool. Like I've seen like other scenes that are like totally like fucking like segregated. And
Yeah.
shit. Like it's and to see like how supportive everyone is of each
Mhm.
other, I think that's so special. Like genuinely, and I
100%.
think you essentially like giving back, you know, for a scene that like helped you at like such a difficult time in your life.
100%.
Awesome.
I started this
super awesome.
interview with, you know, the I'm happy to be here, but that's kind of the point of the giving back piece.
Yeah.
Is I was just happy to be there at these events, man, and I found people that became family that I've traveled across the country with that I would genuinely die for, right? And that's what that brought me, and that was just me being a guy who's happy to be here. Now I'm a DJ who's just happy to be here.
Right.
But if I can give that exact same feeling of just for an hour, forget everything, turn up, have a good time, that's what I want to do, and that's again why I, you know,
You're
wanted to
giving
work
that
with you guys. Yeah.
Same feeling to someone else.
Exactly.
That was in your
Exactly,
yeah,
and
it's
that's
awesome.
why, you know, at the end of the day, I think this is such a perfect fit because it opens the doors for so many people to get into that the same way.
That's so sick, man. Well, I won't keep you too long. I got 2 more questions for you here. So, anything special that you're going to be doing for this set? Anything that people should look for, or anything in particular that you just kind of want to
Yeah.
tease or whatever?
You know, this is something that I think this is going to be a really good culmination and of, you know, what I've done over the past year. And I'm not talking about bringing back doubles or anything like that, but I want this to set the tone for who I am as an artist.
Ooh.
Because everyone has their niche. Everyone knows that despite we can all play the wubby, the headbanger, the slow, whatever sort of vibe you want, everyone is known for something. Everyone's known for being in one pocket of this little umbrella or another. I want this third set to very much express where I lie in that and what my trajectory is for the future.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I am very much looking forward to
This
it.
will be all
I'm
over the
super
place.
looking forward to it.
It'll be a lot of different, you know, different takes on what I like, but I spoke to you before this and it was I play what I like and I only play what I like. And so if I'm going to have a good time and set the tone, then it's going to be putting my best foot forward for sure.
I'm hyped.
Mhm.
I'm super hyped. Well, before I let you go, brother, any advice to the people that were where you were at, 2, 3 years, 10 months ago, whatever it is? Like, what would you say to the person that's like, I'm super into this, I'm going to the shows, I want to start, I want to do this? What would you say to them?
I'm going to say the piece of advice, I'm going to say why, and I really hope it makes sense to people. I saw this online the other day, but it really, really hits home. Just get to the line. I don't know if you played sports growing up or anything.
Yeah.
You ever had your coach mad as hell, run suicides, run drills, whatever. And yeah, it sucks, but if you just want to get that little bit faster, that little bit better, even though it might not feel at times like it's the best thing or you are succeeding, just get to the line. Just get back to the line and keep it moving and do it again and just get back to the line. And some days you're going to have great flow and other days you're not. So for people who are just starting out, get to the line. Open record box. Or if you're starting with producing, open your DAW of choice. Ableton, FL, whatever. Create something. Get to the fucking line. And if it's not good enough to you, that's okay, because it's never going to be good enough. But if you just take that little step every single time, you're inevitably going to get better,
Right.
and you're inevitably going to end up on the path that people say when they say, oh, just give yourself some time, it takes a while. get to the line and it will happen way faster than you're going to expect.
Yeah. That's so sick, man. I totally agree. I think that's a beautiful answer.
Thank you. Yeah. It's been sitting with me for a while.
That's sick, man. Well, I won't keep you. Thank you so much for doing the interview, brother.
Of course.
Very much looking forward to your set, and yeah, man, nothing but the best for you, dude. I am very much. You're on your way, brother.
Thank
You're
you.
very much on your way.
Thank
100%.
you. All right. Well, I appreciate it. May 21st, the drop. Be there, or I might cry.
Be there, guys.
Or if you come, I might kiss you. So, who knows?
Type shit.
Type shit. That's a wrap. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
That was beautiful.